Join Daryl McCance and Yvette Walker each Tuesday at 4 p.m. on ABC News Radio, KMET, and Internet KMET TV for the Southern California Business Report. The show highlights successful businesses and individuals behind them. Daryl and Yvette interview the incredible people managing these enterprises that range from awe-inspiring sole proprietors to world-renowned organizations. The Southern California Business Report, Tuesdays at 4 p.m. on KMET AM, FM, and Internet KMET TV.
Welcome to KMET 1490 AM ABC News Radio and the Southern California Business Report, a show dedicated to highlighting successful Southern California businesses and the people behind them, with Daryl McCance and Yvette Walker. And now, here's Daryl and Yvette.
Thank you for joining the Southern California Business Report on ABC News and Talks, KMET 1490 AM, 98.1 FM, and KMET TV with Yvette Walker and myself, Daryl McCance. We are live blasting our signal from the center of Southern California, the beautiful Inland Empire, Orange County, and the greater Los Angeles area to our west, the Desert Empire all the way to Arizona to our east, the Temecula Valley, Riverside, all the way to San Diego to our south, and our beautiful local mountain communities, Upper Desert all the way to State Line to Nevada. Get us crystal clear live worldwide by going onto the Google Play app or the Apple app and download the free KMET smartphone app today. We focus each week on successful businesses in Southern California and the people behind them, serving a local population of nearly 25 million, from awe-inspiring sole proprietorships to world-renowned organizations in all sectors of our economy. Today's show focuses on the businesses and secrets of Southern California's automotive sector, and you're in for a real treat. We are really excited. We're going to have a great show today.
Thanks.
Before we begin, a special thank you to our team, Mitch, Bill, and Sean at the station, and our amazing advisory group from UC Irvine, Bill Morris School of Business, Jay Kaplan, catch his show on Friday every 3 p.m., Camila Rubio, Diana Cavallo, and James Carvin. Special thanks to last week's guest, Dr. Christina Corfield, City of Hope, dermapathology. Not only does she have her background in dermatology, but she's also a pathologist talking about our skin. And we're about to go into the summer months, and it's very serious, and she is an amazing interview. If you didn't hear it, Yvette Walker will talk here shortly on how to download that interview, and you want to hear it. Very, very important. And with that, as customary, Yvette Walker will introduce this week's special guest. Yvette, the microphone is all yours.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Daryl. I'm so excited, especially after having visited this person and what it is that we're going to unveil here on the show today. And I'm very excited, honored, and proud to introduce Cliff Cummings. He is a successful business owner with 4 car dealerships in the Inland Empire. There is Toyota of San Bernardino, Subaru of San Bernardino, Nissan of San Bernardino, and I-10 Toyota of Indio. Cliff has served multiple terms and is currently president of the Southern California Toyota Dealers Advertising Association with about $125 million budget. He serves on Toyota's National Dealer Council and National Dealer Advertising Committees, as well as several other subcommittees. He has been a trustee for Loma Linda's Children's Hospital, University of California, Riverside Foundation, a CalPoly Pomona Ambassador for Higher Education, and was appointed by Governor Wilson to serve on the Employment Training Panel. A longtime supporter of the Assistance League of San Bernardino, Dr. Earl R. Children's Dental Health Center, and the Boys and Girls Club of the Mountain Communities. He has raised over $100,000 for both charities. He also supports the first tee of the Inland Empire and Martha's Kitchen in the Coachella Valley. Cliff graduated from Lynchburg College in 1976 with a Bachelor of Arts degree in political science and economics. He and his beautiful wife, Bobbi, live in San Bernardino and have 2 sons, Michael and Trevor. Thank you so much for being with us today, Cliff.
Well, thanks for having me.
As we talked earlier, the format of the show is we want to go and talk about your past. There's some exciting things that we're going to be talking about in the automotive sector that are right here, as big as it gets here in Southern California. But before we jump into that, those that are listening that don't know you, and today is the first time they're hearing about your success story, and we just want to kind of go back all the way as far back as you want to go. How is it that you decided you wanted to go into the automotive sector? How did it start? Just a little bit I know is just absolutely, mind-boggling what you've accomplished out there. So go back and take us from the beginning and bring us right up to current.
Well, let's go back to probably college.
Okay.
So I played golf in high school. I played 4 years in college. And when I got out, I was going to try to play a bit more. And so in order to do that, you're traveling, you have a lot of expenses. So I got a job at a place called College Toyota AMC Jeep in Lynchburg, Virginia. And it was right after where Bobbi and I graduated Lynchburg College. So anyway, that's how long we've been together, 44 years now. So at the end of the day, after quite a bit of back and forth and travel, I learned very, very comfortably and quickly that I'm a hell of a car guy and a lot better than I am a golfer.
Nice.
So we ended up staying in the car business. I did, and moved from Lynchburg to Tysons Corner, Virginia. And that's where the kind of the fun started. We had a gentleman named Bob McCurry come in to run Toyota. He had run Dodge, came over to Toyota, and was pretty much tasked with bringing in trucks into the United States, getting into that market. Well, he was a golfer. And so he had heard that I wasn't bad. And so I ended up doing quite a number of events for Toyota. If the Japanese came in, Lewistown, Pennsylvania, this charity, Tucson, whatever it was. So I was on call to go do charity events, do whatever. I was still playing some tournaments, and but the neat thing was they liked me because when I got to Tysons Toyota, it was about a 100-car a month store. When I left, it was 450.
Nice.
I built Fairfax Toyota, which was an 88-car a month store at its old location, opened it up and beat Tysons Toyota the first year. Then, as all these events unfolded, I was doing the advertising thing, doing the policy thing, doing all that, trying to play some golf. Moved out here to San Bernardino and bought a store, and ultimately we moved it across the freeway, built a building, sort of took over a building. Now we're building a building. And that store, I think our record's about 850, and I think we bought it, it was doing about 88 cars a month. So the San Bernardino market's fabulous. Subaru was 29 cars. We did 260 last month. We've got the Nissan store turned around. I-10 was closed, shuttered, and we did, we'll do probably 300 this month, 350, depending on availability. But it all stemmed, I know it's odd, and I keep telling people this, they don't believe me. Everything I've got came from golf. Everything started with golf and access because people want to play with relatively good players. And so I did that. And Mr. McCurry was unbelievable toward me. There's another fellow, Dave Wilson, that was not a golfer. He was just a genius. And so we both came along, and it was an exciting time for us because could go do all these events, go travel to Japan, go and do whatever. And I'll give you a quick, cute story. One day I got a call from Sue, the coordinator, and said, "Can you go to Lewistown, Pennsylvania for the Boys and Girls Club?" Nice first tie-in. I said, "Sure." I said, "Who's going?" "Well, it's you. You'll be on the plane with Mr. McCurry." "Great. We're going to bring two great friends of mine, Terry Wilcox and Mark Feil, both tour players, Greg Norman, Mark O'Meara, Raymond Floyd, Lee Trevino, Chichi Rodriguez, and a couple others that are still around." And I said, "Girl, you got me on the wrong list." and so she said, "Oh no, you're right here. You are right here." So Tom Weisskopf was there. But long story short, Toyota has absolutely been brilliant. We flew into there, and they had lined the tractors along the runway in Lewistown, Pennsylvania, to see the Toyota plane land and everything. We were at the VFW for the charity dinner. leaning on a cigarette machine at that point. So there's just all kinds of good news. And I tell you, for folks listening or watching, that get your kids into golf. Get them in because it makes them think. They're out there on their own. Caddies, certainly, as you grow into it. But it makes you think, and it makes you focus. And you've got to put everything out of your mind for 3 seconds. And if you can do that, it's going to help you an awful lot in business. And it certainly helped me a lot in business. I mean, I use the same techniques in business as I do standing over a golf ball or getting ready to execute a shot. The other thing that was sort of the miracle was in college. All right, Bobbi's 44 years together. My wife and I have been together that long. And that's where we met. And she has been the absolute rock of Gibraltar. And as I tell people, if I hadn't met her, I'd be dead. So not that I had any real problems. I'd be dead. Anyway, so it's been a marvelous
bravo
relationship.
to Bobbi. I'm so glad that
today.
I'm so glad she's kept you alive for this long. And I'm sure so are the 600 plus employees that you have today working at your facilities.
Yeah, they're great. And what's really kind of the interesting part about that is you always wonder, am I doing a good job? Am I doing the right thing for folks? Well, if you go down the list, Liz, you met today, my assistant.
Yes.
She started with me in 83. Her husband, sadly deceased, started me with me in 77. They moved out here from Virginia.
Wow.
Robin Burkroff, our finance director, has been there 35 or 6 years. Our parts manager, Mike Maldonado, started as a kid working in the parts department, picking parts out of the deal and putting them into stock and driving. And now he's running the whole show.
Wow.
And he replaced the only parts manager we've ever had who worked with us for probably 40 years. So this goes on and on and on. We have the sons of technicians coming to work here.
Wow.
Dad and son working in the same place. Dad retires, son keeps going. Carlos Jimenez, 17, 18 years in our business department. I think it means we're doing an okay job.
Right.
And, we're keeping them happy if we can.
Absolutely. It sounds like you have some secrets as an employer that makes people actually enjoy coming to work every day. And what I have found is that takes true leadership, right? People like to come to a place where they feel supported, encouraged, and feel like they can thrive. And so that's a mark of a leader. And you clearly have that across the board when you're talking about the low turnover that you're talking about, the high sales, the quality of the vehicles. I'm a Toyota lover, I have to say. And of course, I'm sure you have multi-generational customers as well, probably the parents and then the children and the grandparents, which I can imagine are some of your secrets of success. Can you share a little bit more about some of those secrets that have allowed you to flourish and be as successful as you are today?
Gosh, I don't know if there's a formula, but I think that one of the things that I learned a long time ago was I'm just a guy, right? I'm a guy. And the guy doing that job's another guy, and the lady doing that job's just another guy. We're just doing our jobs.
Right.
And my door's open. Anybody can walk in. One day, we had a tech was in here, his feet are up on my desk, and we're talking about a problem, and my assistant walked in, or one of them walked, they go, "What the hell are you doing?" And he said, "I'm talking to Cliff." And I said, "I'm talking to Dave." And so it's if the door's closed, they know something's going on, because they all know that I'm fairly involved with everything that goes on with Toyota and California law relative to car dealers, advertising for the country, so they know that I'm busy. But I have always found that the most fun times are talking to the folks and finding out what's good, what do we need, what the mix is. Every night I get a summary of everything that happened in each store. I don't go to sleep until it's in. So I kind of know the next day what we're going to talk about if there's an issue. And of course, I have computer access to all that. So look, we're just people doing our jobs, and we try to make it fun. And sometimes there's the not so much fun part, but the strategy here is not blow somebody out, try to fix the problem.
Right.
And sometimes the problem we created, we've got to look internally at what we did. Sometimes it's something they did and it's a learning experience. And sometimes it just isn't going to work. And, you gotta move on.
Yep.
So, and that is a little bit frustrating when you have to move on because you put effort into training people.
Right.
So for those that just tuned in, we are here with Cliff Cummings, the owner of San Bernardino Toyota, and we're focused on that today because a brand new dealership is coming out of the ground. It will be the new dealership for Southern California. It is amazingly well located, right on the 10 freeway and the 215 freeway. People coming from San Diego going to Vegas, and people going from Beverly Hills out to Palm Springs, and everybody and their brother is going to see this, and it is magnificent. And we're going to talk about the details of this brand new mega dealership momentarily. But before we do, talk a little bit to Yvette and I and the listeners about your interfacing with Toyota. You have had an amazing perspective at a national level, at a state level, at a regional level. I mean, we know how committed you are to the Inland Empire, and and it's just amazing what you've built. But kind of give us a little background on the amazing organization that we're all talking about when we say Toyota. Just an amazing organization.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of idiomatic things in language where it's hard to define. I'll tell you the one thing that Toyota's done for the 44 years I've been around is they hire the best people they can get. And they're not afraid at all to push people, make them work harder, educate them, sure, train the hell out of them, get them facing guys like me, who, and there's a few of us out there, who are not afraid to let them know what learning experience they are going to enjoy that day, or what mistakes they've made, which is a learning experience. But they hire great people. They have a good formula. And one of the neat things that I found to be the secret sauce is that when we're involved in problems, the Japanese, obviously, Toyota, the Americans and the dealers, we have a great ability to communicate with each other. So another franchise I own, dealing with the Japanese is virtually impossible, and that's their management style for that franchise. Well, that franchise is very weak. Other ones are better, but ever since the golf game, back when Yuki Togo was running the country, I've had absolutely amazing access to the Japanese senior management. I can remember being in Greensboro, North Carolina. At the Greenbrier in West Virginia, doing an event, and Mr. Togo wanted to play golf. So we played. By the way, he never called me by my name. I was never Cliff. After that first round of golf, he called me Samurai until he died.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so I had to play golf with him. It was raining like hell. He said, well, we're done. I got to go back to Northern Virginia. And he said, oh, no, we're playing tomorrow. It's going to be nice. So raining worse the next day. So I said, look, I got to ride back. No, we'll fly. They flew me home. And it was just that kind of relationship where it just always developed. And the next guy came along and look, I could be a golfer. That's fine. But we put a lot of cars on the street and made a lot of people happy, very highly rated, got some of the best awards Toyota can ever give. So it was a sort of a package deal, but Mr. Togo was always a kick. He was just great. And it went on all the way through to some great friends of ours, the Inabas, who ran North America. And this doesn't happen. I'll give you a little snippet. This never happens. We stayed at their house in Tokyo.
Wow.
They stayed at my house. We were 2 of 6 Americans at their daughter's wedding. That's the kind of trust and relationship that we built. And the easiest way to destroy a trust is to lie to somebody, and that ain't going to happen. And that's the easiest way to get fired in my organization. You lie to me, you're gone. You kill somebody, man, probably not. But if you lie to me,
as long as you
you're
share, you talk about it, and you're honest about it, right?
Yeah. No, really, you lie, you're toast.
Yeah.
Well, I was sharing with your organization earlier that my brother has in his garage a limited edition FJ Cruiser, a Tundra. I'm not kidding you. A Tacoma. Just took possession of his new Toyota Prius. I said, it is unbelievable. And as far as he's concerned, and my very first car ever was a Toyota truck, which I I'm so sad that I sold it. It was just amazing. When I sold that truck many years later, it was no different than the day I bought it. It's just amazing the quality of their quality control and their support of the dealers and the pleasant experience. And obviously you've played a huge role, since Southern California is just an amazing large market. And, it's just, we'll leave it at that. But isn't it amazing, the quality of the product? Does it just still take your breath away?
Oh, sure. I started with a 75 Corolla personally, manual transmission, and it was great, and so you're thinking, how can I go wrong, right? I mean,
Yep.
Nobody's going to yell at me. I sold American Motors products, which were dualed up with Toyota. And another great story. We sold, I won't use his name. I don't think he's still with us, but I sold a city councilman in Lynchburg, Virginia, an AMC Pacer.
Okay.
A week later, he came walking in carrying his driver's door. It had fallen off.
Oh, no.
And so that kind of cured me on the AMC side of that equation. I don't think I ever sold another one. But yeah, it's funny. You mentioned the cars that your brother has. He probably has about as many cars in his driveway as we have on our lot right now.
Yep.
We normally stock about 500, and we're something in the range of 71. I haven't walked out of my office in a while to find out what's been sold, but 70 cars on the ground when you're used to seeing 500 is a tough one. But Our guys are doing unbelievably. As soon as they come in, a lot of them are pre-sold. Out they go. We wait for the next truckload. In fact, one of the initiatives I took with Toyota is now the dealers are able to get advance notice of actually what's on the truck on the way in, so that it can be prepped and ready for the customer and it can go out right away, because we're pre-selling so much.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of intricacies, and the port facility's been terrific. Look, we work real hard on innovating, and Schwarzenegger, they had that great bit about Schwarzenegger. Was with him when they kept saying, "Oh yeah, Arnold, he's very much in favor of the thinking up of good ideas." and he kidded about it. But again, we got to sit here and figure out what can we do to push the envelope a little further. That may be in business, it may be personal life, it may be charities, it may be anything you're doing. But the second you stop thinking and trying to get a little bit better, hang it up, baby, it's over.
Right. I love it. I love it. And so having visited your facility actually earlier today was gorgeous. 96,000 square feet of pure state-of-the-art automotive retail sales beauty. And when you walked us through it, we got to see that there was a lot of thought put behind it, from where the automotive bays are to where the cars are going to be pulled up by the sales offices and presented to the new owners, to how the air is circulating within the facility and keeping the cars clean, right? Just so well thought, so beautiful, very exciting to see firsthand. So with all of this that you have on your plate now, can you share a little bit about what your goals and sales are for this particular facility or overall?
Well, I think the first thing we want to do is there are certain rewards you get from Toyota, which are absolutely not financial. But we've been in Circle of Excellence with Toyota Financial. We've been Board of Governors with Toyota. I think I would like to crack the top 20 volume stores in the country. That's an objective. That's a tough one.
Nice.
Okay, because there's some big stuff out there. And I think that would be something that helps put San Bernardino back on the map, because, I get asked a lot in interviews, what the hell are you doing living there? And we do live in town.
That's because they don't know about the Inland Empire yet. That's why. But you have the vision, and that's why you're successful.
They hear a lot of bad news, and I probably can sit here for an hour and tell you good news.
Yes.
So as we move forward with this, I think that's one of the things we'd like to do. We'll be one of the first 2 signature stores in Southern California for the new Subaru building, which we're going to do 61,000 square feet for them coming up as we get through planning and design. We started that process already. There are just things that are there you look at and say, hey, you know what? I think this market can do this. I think our people can do it. And again, once you start thinking about stopping, you're stopping.
Right.
And so I don't want any part of that. I want to figure out at 67, how can I shoot my age? on a golf course. I almost did the other day. So, or I want to figure out how can we make this building a little better. And all of them are basically the same way. And honestly, if they're not, they fall off the wagon at some point anyway.
Well, we Yvette Walker and I, we were saying all the time on the show that Southern California now is one beautiful community, and we have different neighborhoods. Just like when we were with you earlier today, Cliff, there's people that woke up in Orange County, they went to work in San Bernardino, they're going to go visit a friend in LA County, and they might even pick something up in Riverside on the way home. So we have all these little neighborhoods, and there are people that are making these neighborhoods very, very special. And you're one of these people. And when we come back from break, all of us in Southern California, when we come back, we're going to talk in real detail about what Mr. Cliff Cummings has built on the Interstate 10 freeway and the 215, which are two major interstates with just an unimaginable amount of traffic. And they're going to see something new that they've not seen before. And we're going to talk about what was there before and what's there now. And we're going to talk about the aspirations. And we always put out secrets. And one of the secrets at some point in the future, we're going to see $1 billion in sales come out of there. And as Yvette said, in the Inland Empire, we have the third largest group of millennials in the country. The amazing amount of new development is being built right around Toyota of San Bernardino and your dealerships there. So you are creating something that's just spectacular. So as these new communities are springing up and we're seeing downtowns that are going through gentrification and huge amounts of money being spent to bring them to their glory, it's people like Cliff Cummings that are investing. I can't even imagine how much money was invested in bringing these state-of-the-art dealerships that'll rival any dealership in California or nationwide. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more when we come back from break. So look forward to that. We're going to put you under pressure, Mr. Cummings, for some more secrets. Okay. And by the way, he gave us the first secret, which was golf. Learn how to play golf.
There you go. Golf, okay. Everyone.
Exactly. So we will be back right after the break.
Hello, listeners. This is Christopher from The Christopher Show. Hey, if you missed one of our shows here at KMET, don't worry about it. You can go to our webpage, and that's KMET1490am.com. Go to the homepage, click on the SoundCloud tab, and hear any show anytime you want.
Join Daryl McCance and Yvette Walker each Tuesday at 4 p.m. on ABC News Radio, KMET, and Internet KMET TV for the Southern California Business Report. The show highlights successful businesses and individuals behind them. Daryl and Yvette interview the incredible people managing these enterprises that range from awe-inspiring sole proprietors to world-renowned organizations. The Southern California Business Report, Tuesdays at 4 p.m. on KMET AM, FM, and Internet KMET TV.
Take KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
The University of La Verne is rated first in California for alumni satisfaction. Learn more about accelerated programs offered online and on campus in La Verne, Irvine, Ontario, Burbank, or College of the Canyons. Visit go.laverne.edu. The University of La Verne. go.laverne.edu.
Being sued and don't know who to turn to? The insurance company won't defend you and your family in a lawsuit? Stress no more. Call the Walker Law Group. We are the law on your side. Just call 909-989-3200. 909-989-3200.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining the Southern California Business Report. We are here with Cliff Cummings, owner of Toyota San Bernardino. And before we went to break, we talked about getting into some detailed conversation on a project that really took 10 years from inception to near its grand opening. So we can even talk about that for a minute. And then we're going to talk about what the state-of-the-art Toyota facility that's got everybody excited in all of Southern California. It will be the new next dealership. It's a big deal. So with that, when do we look forward to the grand opening, Mr. Cummings?
Well, Liz and I, you've heard Liz's name, my assistant of 100 years. We're having that conversation right before we started this. And I've been throwing July 15th as a date now. And she says, well, you're probably a little bit late. It could be sooner. I said, well, prove it. And we'll go from there, because my travel schedule, I have to book a fair amount. I think I told you that just in June, I'm in Dallas twice for Toyota, Jackson Hole for Toyota, Beverly Hills for Toyota, and Montana for Cliff and Bobbi for a few days. And so it's nice to get a day, right? And it'll be in Los Olivos tomorrow, which is technically Toyota on the ad group. So it's that compressed. As things open up, everybody wants a piece, right? Yep. So now we're trying to make things work out to the point where, hey, first off, July is time to take a little bit of time off at some point. But I need more finite definition of when. And
so somewhere
building
between
like this, it's hard.
Yep. It sounds like somewhere between the 4th of July and the 15th of July.
Yeah, well, it'll be after the 4th, because you know what? It's a huge weekend business-wise, and we can't displace all our people and schlep them across the street with all the stuff. The cars are easy. They're parked right in the middle, right. The few we have. But that'll be easy. But I suspect maybe 10th of July would be a happy day.
So for people that are tuning in, let's describe when they arrive at the new Toyota of San Bernardino. Let's talk about let's go back 10 years. From 10 years ago until now, what did you have to do to make this mega dealership a reality? And then we'll work right up to what it is exactly. Because my jaw hit the ground when I walked in the facility this morning. So let's take it from there.
I think the first thing you do, and it's in any successful endeavor, starts with commitment, right? So you've got to commit to what you're going to do, and then come up with a plan on how you're going to get there. Okay. So and you can name anything. I can't think of anything that happens where commitment isn't a major key if you're going to be successful and a plan. So we knew that we need to aggregate dirt. We needed land. So I bought the defunct Jeep store across the way at the courthouse steps. We bought Kennedy Cadillac when he wanted to retire, which is on the freeway. I had taken I bought what was an RV store and Hyundai store, turned it into Scion. We were the 7th biggest in the country in San Bernardino, by the way, in Scion. And then Toyota pulled the plug on Scion, so with a building and a freeway. So it sounded like it would marry up pretty well with all this other property. And so we came up with a plan, great architect with Gary Miller, and we decided that we're going to put those three lumps of property, which housed 5 franchises, are going to become a really big Toyota store. Nice. And at that point, that's when we went after it. And I think the guys have done a great job with the architect, the builders. We have terrific confidence in each other. Good news and bad news. Look, you got to be able to take the bad news, right? So it's just been really a wonderful relationship so far. We're already, as I said, strategizing, and had 2 meetings so far on the new Subaru building, which will actually be where we tear down the old Toyota building. Wow. So we'll do that and have 62,000 or 61,000 square feet of brand new Subaru store. And nice. then we got one more behind that. I'm not quite sure I'm done at that point, but maybe I know we got one more behind us that'll happen. So
let's paint a picture of the new Toyota of San Bernardino, because that's happening right now, and it'll be opening in a matter of weeks. And so let's you pick a department and let's talk about what we're looking at, because ultimately you know that someday you're going to hit that big $1 billion in sales. So, and it all starts in July at some point. So let's kind of paint a picture, especially of the we can even start with the property that you were able to put the huge the 4 lanes. It looks like 4 lanes of a freeway. It's gigantic to make it easy for people to come in.
Yeah.
People are busy. They're trying to get to work. They got kids at school and so forth. So let's talk about that, because it all starts with driving up to your dealership, and you've made that easy as compared to what we're used to.
Well, the whole thing should be easy, right? Why do you want to? I want you to come have a customer experience with us, which generally means spend money, and we don't want to make it hard. So you don't want it hard. Well, by the way, that big overhang is an easement street that we were able to get, and we promised that by keeping the roof that high, fire trucks could get through it because they can go right through there.
It looks like a freeway overpass. That is amazingly high.
Yeah, some inspector treated it as a third building, and we had a little discussion with some folks, and that got fixed pretty quickly. Nice. But we wanted a very big shade structure because it gets hot. Yep. We wanted it to be impressive, and one of the things that Gary, the architect, we worked on was to raise the actual level of the entire building, the sales lobe, because we wanted visibility from the freeway. And don't forget, you're on about a 2% downgrade there. So we had to raise up the base and make the ceilings much higher in order to have that visibility we wanted to have. So was it expensive? A little bit, but not the end of the world. But I think the most impressive thing right now, and you saw it, is when you walk into the service department, the thing is a football field with lifts and machines, and it's done. That is basically 100% done. So that's the most important and visible piece right now that shows completion. We went into the showroom, and they're putting down the floor tiles, I think you saw, and they're working through that. Now, one of the things I'm really proud of, which will be ready, I am told, by mid-June, maybe sooner, is my wife, Bobbi, and Chandler Talbot, one of our folks here, are working on a monstrous mural that's going to go the length of the showroom, which looks like 300 or 400 yards. It's not that, but it's pretty big. And so it's going to take the history of San Bernardino from back when to now. And we've left a lot of room for some cool things to happen behind this, because I do believe that this city is going to have some great things happen in the future. And when that's done, you guys have to come out and see it. We were hoping to get it up now, but there's just no way, because the guys are working on the flooring and this and that, and it's but when you see it, it's going to be pretty darn impressive.
Well, we promise we'll be out there to see it. So now from the beautiful showroom where all the cars are going to be displayed, you have some other rooms there that are very unusual for a dealership. Tell us about some of those rooms, the quiet rooms, the business office, for children, for mothers. Talk about that.
Well, I think
I've never seen that before.
Living on airplanes, sometimes it gets loud, and you just want to say, can I put on headphones? Can somebody just keep it quiet? And so when you go into dealerships, there's a lot going on, generally speaking. So what we tried to do in each of the stores is have what we would call a quiet room. No TV, no radio. You want to go in and read, I don't want you to turn on your radio or whatever you've got on your phone, because it's quiet, right?
Right.
So anyways, you go in there and do some work, and you have time. And there's enough space for a lot of people to do that. They really appreciate it. We've got a non-cooking cafeteria that we're adding in. So it's prepackaged. The licensing and the inspections for cooking things in an automobile dealership, it's onerous, and it should be, right? You want people to be safe. So we're going to have drinks and that kind of thing, not the kind of drinks we want right now, but soft drinks. And so that'll be there. Then we've got what we did add, and we're in the process right now of interviewing and hiring, is very few dealerships in the country have actually got an insurance agency on site. So I've taken 3 Allstate franchises, and we're putting them in the 3 dealerships here. We'll do the 4th one in Indio when we sort of lab rat this one out. So we'll have on-site absolutely full insurance. Now, here's the interesting kicker there. And I don't know why a lot of my compatriots don't do this. So as you buy a car, look, the payment's X. Let's say easy math, $500.
Right.
Our people should be able to show you how to save $100 a month on what you're spending. So now that car payment's $400,
Yep.
right? Net. So that's the kind of thing where I think if we incorporate some of these other forward looks and thought processes, that the experience of buying something is easier. We can do every bit of what you want online right now. Oddly, California is one of the few states that requires a wet signature on a few things. That'll get thrown out. We'll get that bill passed in 2022. But it's the attempt is to make it seamless, make it painless, and make it fair.
Yep. And you mentioned before we went to break that you wanted to talk about young people, and there's a real lack of financial education. I know my first car was a Toyota. I didn't have to worry about repairs. I mean, it was just the most amazing experience. In fact, I could probably make an argument that it saved me money compared to other cars I've purchased. And but you wanted to say a couple things about your thoughts and your concerns about people really having sound financial transactions, and especially those that really haven't had any training in that regard.
We look at literally thousands of credit apps a month, literally thousands.
Wow.
And it's astounding to me that there are numerous factors, okay? But it's astounding to me how people, and I'll start with young and move up, don't understand the impact of not paying something. And generally, so now you have to figure out, why didn't they pay? Well, they didn't have the money. All right, why did they buy it? I wanted it. Okay. And somebody out there is willing to lend you money for 22%. And that is so true. You can't believe.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, between credit card late charges, between high risk credit, I strongly recommend to everybody that they live within their means. I'm sitting here looking at all of this, but it's within the means because it took 10 years to do. And I had all these other businesses that were profitable, and we're plowing that money into this puppy. Right. And when that's going, we're going to plow that money into the Subaru store. And we're going to have a whole lot of people working for us. But again, young folks, don't get in over your head. It will kill you in the long term. And we all sacrificed when we were young doing something, whether it's to play a sport or to buy something, whatever. This now society is a little bit problematic. You got to take a step back, make sure you can afford it, and don't put yourself in a risk position. So I think you've got to have a debt strategy from early age on, from high school on. And I did, by the way. I had a financial in college. I had guys who were, of course, I was an econ minor, but I had guys advising people, myself included, on what to do long term.
Yep. And I think it's the messenger. You have, we all, regardless of age, everybody admires, and that's Yvette Walker and I, one of the things we're real excited about on the show is focusing on successful people, and that's a secret. You just put out a secret, which is live within your means. And when people see successful people like yourself, and you say live within your means, okay, because everybody thinks that you just got whatever you got in the last 10 minutes. They don't realize they don't realize how many nights sleep you lost, and you. Right. And you don't have me fooled. When I was out there this morning and I look at this amazing facility, I know that both you and your wife, I'm sure, have had a couple of sleepless nights thinking, oh my goodness, this is a huge undertaking. And you're challenging yourself, but like you said, you're living within your means. You've done your financial management. And for somebody with your background, your success, that is highly, highly regarded by Toyota Motor Corp and your entire industry, for that matter, to have the message of the day for people to live within their means.
Right.
Don't destroy their credit. Don't buy something that they can't afford. Don't allow other people to be, there's a thing called predatory lending. Don't subject yourself to 22% interest rates. And,
no,
and it's just, so thank you for that. That to me is a big secret.
Yes.
And it's not being discussed often enough. And so now, so we don't run out of time, let's talk about where you see it going. And you've talked a little bit about some of your sales volumes and where do you see the inventory? Because right now, with the year we just came out of, how long do you think it'll be before we start to see some nice inventories? When are you going to hit your $1 billion annual figure? Will that be
gross sales? Yeah. All right. Let me take that sort of one bite at a time. The first thing is inventory wise for Toyota specifically.
Okay.
The flow is good. All right. The problem is that the flow is not matching currently the demand. So it's very difficult to build ground stock. So as I mentioned, I think to you earlier today, I would normally at San Bernardino keep 500 new vehicles on the ground, car truck. We have 71. But yesterday we got 13. Okay. We sold 12 new. So net gain of 1. It went this morning. So what we're trying to do with Toyota, and they're managing it very well, is get them built. They will not tell us something's coming unless it's actually built. It's not pie in the sky. So my folks know exactly what is real and what they can sell without selling something and the customer get mad because, oh yeah, by the way, we couldn't get this. I mean, the damn seat foam thing was a real eye opener. So now we've got a flow of inventory that's coming in the 300 plus range to 400. So we're fine. The problem is the demand's at that 350 to 400 range. So it's going to be first quarter before we get a lot of excess inventory for display and other sales. So can we live with it this way? Oh, heck yeah. I mean, we're fine. I feel bad for some Chrysler friends of mine who don't have a new vehicle on the ground. And that's poor planning on Chrysler's part. And by the way, from a master's theory or master's paper, you'll find that some of this just-in-time production methodology, when something breaks, nothing's on time. And something
That's
broke.
right.
So you've got Ford, Dodge, Chrysler, Toyota, Honda, Nissan. Everybody has been impacted. There's not one who have not been impacted by a various problem. So I would suggest that we'll be just fine. We will probably ask, particularly in Tacoma trucks, folks to wait just a little bit, but we'll have the truck reserved for them because we're not going to sell them something that isn't real. And Toyota's not going to sell the dealerships something that's not real. And that's why I think it's one of those great, well-run companies.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that being said, as you look forward, what would you say are your top 3 considerations for these dealerships in terms of goals, focus, priorities? You name them and share them with us. What would you say are the top 3 considerations moving forward?
I think number one, they're combined. Number one thing is training. All right. So you always want to just continuously train. I think you saw the training room that we set up. Well, you know what? The training room is next to my office. So I'll know when they're doing it. And I'll jump in. Don't worry, get me wrong. We have great discussions, but training is a huge thing. The next thing is you've got to work your budget inside the available product that you've got. So, for instance, because the demand is high, supply is low, we've actually cut back our advertising budget very, very significantly among all the stores. So that's number 2. Watch your expenses, because if there's another earthquake, another fire, another hailstorm, we might be in the same situation that some of my competitors and friends are, and nothing. You're selling used cars. So live within the means. And that goes back to life, right? Just live within your means. So, and then the third thing that we're working really hard to get is hire the right folks. And you met some of them today. Yes. One of our Chandler, one of the young folks that we've hired is great. I think that's where we've got to have a pool. Now, are we getting hurt there? Hell yes. We're having a terrible time hiring people because they're getting paid to sit home. Now, other states have woken up. My other home state, Montana, is paying people to go learn to go back to work. All right. So that's what we need to change in California is get people back to work. I mean, this ride's fine for the people who are sitting at home. This ride's going to come to an end. Then what? Right. So we have got to get our folks back to work. This state is great. It's vibrant. It's got a lot of talent. It's got a lot of potential. But when you suppress that potential by telling you, stay home, we don't want you out there, that's just nuts.
Yep. Well, we're here on air with Mr. Cliff Cummings, owner of Toyota of San Bernardino. And I got to share something that we haven't talked about yet with the audience. And that is, of course, McDonald's started in San Bernardino. And they had the beautiful golden arches on two of them, two golden arches, right? Well, this is going to be the first mega Toyota dealership that's going to have two enormous illuminated signs, one on the freeway side and then one on the entrance side. And there are no other dealerships that have that. And my hat's off to you, tip of the hat, for going through that additional expense, because I can imagine that was a huge expense, but it's very respectful to the customers. It's going to be very respectful to the community that you love, which is San Bernardino. Again, we have this one beautiful neighborhood called Southern California, and now we've got this little neighborhood over here. We got a secret, and I think you're going to have a lot of people coming from all over the place to see this beautiful, beautiful facility. And that, how big are those signs? Do you know?
I don't. You know what? Here's what I told the guys. I said, I want the portal, which is that front-facing deal from coming in from the Auto Plaza.
Right.
I wanted the biggest one in the country at I-10 Toyota, my other store when we built that.
Yep.
I said I wanted this one 6 inches bigger.
And always looking to grow. Yes, improve.
And then Liz will tell you the Toyota of San Bernardino, the actual signage that you see.
Yep.
I said she calls it the space shuttle sign because I said I want them to be able to see it from the space shuttle.
Yep.
And,
well, you know, it's an example of you showing the community such respect, showing Toyota Motor Corp such respect, and all your employees and customers. I mean, it's just you feel proud driving right up to it. You know, it's just a classic. So as they had the 1 billion hamburgers sold over there at McDonald's, we're going to have a big party over there at Toyota of San Bernardino when you have the $1 billion annual sales, and we're going to be there to celebrate with you. And I also want to say, you mentioned earlier Jeff Schick, that's very familiar with all of Southern California Toyota.
He's number 2 in the regional management.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just so excited about what you have invested in and your commitment to Toyota, your commitment to the customer, your commitment to the employees. It's just the pride of Southern California. So, Yvette, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you take a sip.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Cliff Cummings. We're so excited to join you again in the future and visit your store once it's open. So for everyone listening and watching today, don't forget to look for us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Check us out on scbrtalk.com, and don't forget to download the free live streaming app on Google Play or the Apple App Store. Check out our YouTube channel and download our interview with Dr. Christiane Querfeld, a dermatologist and dermatopathologist at City of Hope, a comprehensive cancer center in the San Gabriel Valley. Dr. Querfeld is one of the world's renowned experts in the diagnosis and management of cutaneous lymphomas. Her other area of expertise includes dermatopathology with specialized knowledge in diagnosing melanoma, cutaneous lymphoma, as well as other skin cancers. She is the director of City of Hope's cutaneous lymphoma program at the Tony Stevenson Lymphoma Center. And everybody, in case you don't know, tomorrow is World Otter Day, and we will be celebrating by having Andy Johnson, the California representative of Defenders of Wildlife, on next Tuesday. Andy managed the Monterey Bay Aquarium's pioneering work with California's threatened sea otter population. He's overseen the rescue and care efforts for stranded animals, facilitated field and in-house sea otter research projects, and promoted collaborations within the sea otter research and conservation community. His efforts included formulating and advancing legislative and policy reform in support of our southern sea otter recovery. Everybody, don't miss it. Sea otters are the best. They're the absolute cutest. Oh, and I have to say, happy birthday to my dad. What kind of a daughter would I be if I didn't wish him a happy birthday? Happy birthday, Dad, Joe Rubio.
This has been the Southern California Business Report with Daryl McCance and Yvette Walker on KMET 1490 AM ABC News Radio, a show dedicated to highlighting successful Southern California businesses and the people behind them. Log on to the show's website and remember to visit the podcast page.